Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on
August 29th.
August 29th. I mean, September 29th, 2015. This is the Board of Water Commissioners meeting. Approval of minutes. Fortunately, I didn't get a chance to work on the minutes this week, so I'm going to table that for the next meeting. Citizens query. I'd like to open up citizens query, but I'm going to, stick to the 5-minute period. And I want to keep, I don't want what happened last meeting. We had a 55-minute citizen query, and it just, we had, members had to go someplace, and weren't able to complete the meeting, so we're going to stick by the 5-minute period.
Makes sense. We made just to, officially extend it a little bit. There's a lot of people here.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about that still?
20 minutes, too?
I think 20 is a little excessive.
15?
No more than 15.
Okay, so
Make a motion to extend the citizens query to 15 minutes.
okay, so the citizens query will be over at 6:15. Do I have any questions?
There's a motion on the floor.
6:18, yes.
6:18.
I made a motion. Stu, you want to second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any questions from the citizens?
Is the investigation still ongoing?
Yes, it is.
When will the investigation be over?
I think it'll be over this week.
I don't think I got my question answered last time as to where the funding was coming from to pay for the investigation. I'm still confused about that.
Well, we're going to cover that when we get into the items here. The funding is not an issue. Any other questions?
I have a question regarding the water bills that were paid with the town clerk. Are those going to get processed before they...
Before
Got
the
late.
late fee cover.
Yeah, I talked to Penachuk, and they said that given that we had a weakness here with not the superintendent that was, funneling the bills over to Penachuk, that they were going to make sure there was no late fees if something...
Well, my name is Shirley Faulkner. I live on Malden Farm Road. I called them today, and they had our bill marked as late as of today. I called them at 4 o'clock before I came here, and my husband dropped it off at the water department last week.
Late. When did you send it in?
Oh, no, 2 weeks ago
Oh, okay.
to the water department, but and he still has the check, and he has everything to check with the bank, but it hasn't been processed.
Okay.
So that was as of today. Penachuk said our water bill is late. So I don't know. So is there no business being conducted at the water department because there's no water supervisor? Is that, I wasn't here last week, so maybe if you would kind of bring me up to speed, because of the actions that you took illegally, there's no water business going on at the water department?
Yeah, okay. So first of all, it's not an illegal action we took. Okay.
And well, I guess that we'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll be finding that
Yeah.
out with the Attorney General's office. So right now, it's just an allegation. So as far as the bills are concerned,
Yeah.
they were building up in the mailbox. I was made aware of that, and because I wasn't able to hire a interim water superintendent because the selectmen squelched that, we were on damage control all the last 2 weeks.
And so the only person that can make sure the bills are paid is the superintendent?
Well, we don't have an administrative assistant, so an administrative assistant position hasn't been filled. I'm going to be discussing that further in the meeting. So usually an administrative assistant would be taking care of all those duties. And we do have temporary help come down here from Town Hall, from either the treasurer's office or, the library or whatever. There's some temporary help to come in to help us with some of the bookkeeping. So some of these things got left unattended to. And
So how far behind are we? Like more than 4 weeks, or how far?
no, as far as what, the bill paying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so the bill paying would be at least, I think last Friday that the stuff was sent in to the Pennachuck from the mailbox here. And then I was made aware that there was some mail downtown, so.
Yeah. I think
I'm not that familiar with the
Oh, okay.
procedure, so from what I gathered, somebody needed to package up all the mail that was in that mailbox and put in the package and then send it off to Tara down at Pennachuck. And I had a conversation with her regarding, the problems we're having right now, and that was going to be addressed when, she was going to try to make an extra effort to make sure that those bills weren't marked late, so I'm kind of surprised that they were.
Yeah, they didn't have anything today when I called at 4 o'clock.
Because, if it was in her hand, she didn't have your bill, is that what it was?
Correct.
Okay.
She didn't have anything from the town. She told me, I have nothing from the town of
I
Raleigh.
don't know, the last I heard, it was getting mailed out last Friday, so, I don't know.
Paul Jalbert.
We can check into that,
Yeah.
Paul Jalbert, Weathersfield Street. I paid my bill September 15th, which is 14 days ago, online. I always pay online.
Yeah.
And as of this afternoon, it still said that that I owed that bill. So I don't think they're processing any bills, paper or online. And it's 14 days ago that I recorded it in my checkbook.
Pennachuck shouldn't have been interrupted. I don't know.
So
Do you know anything about that still?
No, I do not.
Yeah, Pennachuck is a
I was really surprised.
billing, receiving, and,
Yeah.
accounting for the bills. And then they get the bills and they log it into the computer system. And
Yeah.
so, you sent it out, you did it
I did
electronically.
online September 15th, so that's exactly 2 weeks ago. And I checked this afternoon, and it says the same exact amount charge. It says that, I owe.
Yeah,
And I get it's in my register from the 15th.
yeah.
So I don't think they're processing anything online or paper.
Well,
That's just, at least from
we
my
can look into that.
experience.
Lola Vassar, 6 Leslie Road. You mentioned damage control, and the damage control is coming from the mismanagement of this board, specifically you, Mr. Toomey, and you, Mr. Dalzell. When are you going to acknowledge that a series of events have taken place that you're at the root of, that you could stop actually? This is like a full-time job for you. This is not a full-time job. This is a board that oversees what's going on.
Yeah.
Is this your full-time job? Because you're making it a full-time job.
No, it's not my desire to have this kind of type of time involved down here, but the interim, I'm willing to help out with the town to make sure that
You're
we
not
get-
helping the town. You
Okay,
are
I-
not helping our town.
Okay,
You're
I
hurting the
allowed
town.
you, I recognize you to talk, so you gonna let me talk, or you gonna, I'm trying to respond to you. You wanna talk through me, or?
Doesn't help
what
when
do
you
you wanna do?
respond. You should resign.
You don't
Please
answer
No, I'm
questions.
not gonna resign, so, you want me to answer your question, or you just gonna, harass me? So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not gonna recognize you again, as far as talking, so. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, I'm just going to go back to my original question. Shirley Faulkner, Weldon Farm Road. I'm so surprised that you don't know the details of what's going on. The fact that you pass it off to an administrative assistant, to me, that really does scream of a lack of responsibility of knowing what is going on to me. I'm trying to understand the facts, but the fact that you don't know what's happening at Pennachuck, and it seems to me that you both did violate the open meeting law. If that's not the case, I would be very surprised, because legally, the information that we have is that you both did violate the law. And so that's not helping the town, not from a financial standpoint, not from a lawsuit standpoint, and certainly not from helping your water constituents. I mean, really, that's why we're all in this together. That's why we're all here. It doesn't seem like that you're doing an effective job for the town, as far as I can tell. And if you are, I'd like to know what you're doing.
Well, we were trying to do an investigation. We have management, contracting, and comp time issues.
Well, it's probably because there's no administrative assistant.
That was
Sorry,
never
I'm
discussed
sorry.
with the board.
I'm sorry, you're not recognized. So we were doing that as an investigation to see what the issues are.
And this, at the meeting you had?
And if you want to ask me why, I'll tell you why. We have a lot of, rates have increased, we've had a lot of calls. Everybody doesn't want to pay the high rates. They wonder why we're paying such high rates, and so we looked at some issues, and there's some issues down here that we can't discuss at this point. And we discussed you know, a procedure to investigate it, and
Okay, but I think
continue.
that's the problem. The discussion you had with one member of the board, not all the members of the board, was not an open meeting, it was not posted properly. So therein, for me, anything that went from that meeting or any results that came from that meeting, all have to be null and void, because the meeting was illegal to begin with.
That beside,
Well, yeah.
Stu and Tim, I mean, you guys came up with this stuff, and Stu especially, I've been on the board 3 months with you, and I really admired, one of the things you do is you always say, I really need to look at this and go through it. And I can't believe that in one meeting, the two of you guys went through this material. That's why I'm just shocked, you know, that whatever you guys did in that executive session, we never talked about it beforehand. The agenda certainly didn't reflect it.
This is for the,
And no, it's for this public meeting,
Yes,
guys.
it is.
Yeah.
It is, everybody, I mean, look around, guys.
Voted
I
to have you in
mean,
there. so
seriously,
it's-
I was really taken aback, so, well, that's my point.
I don't know why you didn't participate in that.
Because it was illegal, we had a legal. No, guys, wait a minute, this is open query.
It's true.
This is open query, it's your time. My only statement was, I read the letter from the lawyer, and we'll give everybody their time back.
Well, I'm going to discuss that in the meeting, so. Any other questions? Yes.
Nicholas Hawks, I represent Ms. Weiser. Will you be reinstating Ms. Weiser today in her capacity?
We're going to be discussing that later on.
Where on the agenda
Private-
is that discussed? I just want to see, so I make sure we don't
Another
miss that
question.
item.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
Where on the agenda, I just want to make sure that we know we're on the agenda, where that reinstatement's going to get discussed.
Yes.
Okay,
Which item number? On the new business, or?
new business, the first item.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess a follow-up question to that is, if she's not reinstated, and, you know, there's a continuation of this, when was this continuation of this investigation authorized, on what date, and who voted for the continued authorization of the quote-unquote investigation?
We didn't have a vote for the continued we launched an investigation, and because we would have been done with the investigation, but we got short-handed with the selectmen said that we couldn't pay the subcontractors. We hired a investigation firm, and we hired an interim superintendent. So they both said that they weren't going to get paid, so they stopped work. So that's kind of delayed things. So it's all based on what the board's going to be doing as far as doing an investigation. So it's delayed the investigation, and you know, we're still, you know, gathering those facts, and you know, the intent of putting her on administrative leave was to finish up the investigation and continue on.
This gentleman had a question, and Citizens Court is open.
Page
He had
Shepherd
his
from
hand.
Farnham Road. Who's doing the investigation?
At this point, I am in this case.
Conflict of interest.
It's not a conflict of interest.
It's absolutely a conflict of interest if the two of
We have a
you are
fiduciary,
lead.
yeah, ma'am, we have a fiduciary responsibility to this town to look into these matters.
That's right, but you need to not be doing it
So-
yourself because you're the one that put her on leave. That's a conflict of interest, and nothing else, that should be illegal as well.
Well,
So you should be
help us with getting an attorney for this board, ma'am.
Who's
We're
gonna
trying to
pay
get an
for
attorney.
it? The town people?
We don't
Do
want
you know
it.
how much it cost your making the taxpayers? How much you cost?
You know how much money that we
taxpayers?
get certified as free cash every year for the last 5 years here?
For that.
Well, the free cash is free cash to use, not for legal fees, for you doing something illegal.
No, we're not doing anything legal. We have not done anything legal.
The fact
So
that you're
the free
doing the
cash, the
investigation
free
is
cash in
illegal.
this town has been anywhere from $584,000 upwards to $900,000 a year.
So you have all that free cash, so why don't you put that free cash towards our high bills?
Good point.
Seeing how you have
Good
extra
point.
money.
Very good
And then that way, you're not investigating
That's the
something
question I'm
that
asking.
you did
Yeah.
with the closed door meeting.
Why haven't we
with the
talked
two of
about
you.
this before, ma'am? Why have we been going through this the last 5 years, having all this free cash and all having our rates skyrocket?
Because you...
Skyrocket.
Well, that's because you've chosen to have the plan and you've done exorbitant things.
I didn't
to build
choose
it.
to have the
Let's look
plan.
around who's in
This
charge.
guy,
Who's
he
been
didn't,
here for the past
we were
5 years
mandated
who
to have the
hasn't?
plan.
You have been here the past 5 years.
So the
You're the only
Citizens
one.
Query is almost, it's over. So the Citizens Query is over.
Wow.
All right, old business. Year-end spending detail for fiscal year 14-15 budget and budget issue. Why do we have a surplus? Why wasn't it factored into the budget to reduce our rates? Rates continue to rise, no report from the treasurer on certification. There's a lack of transparency and communication with the treasurer under the enterprise fund and the board on its options. We need to seek yearly statements from her department. We cannot show, we're not going to discuss any questions here.
Well, I'm
There's
going to
no
comment
discussion.
because it has nothing to do with the
You
treasurer's
cannot show
office.
has any supply to
You're
addressing the
incorrect.
3/13/2015 memo request. So I put a memo out, trying to get the information on why the water department was, not following the budget we put together for last fiscal year.
Do you have
We didn't do
that
it.
memo?
It's here somewhere.
Okay, can we see it? I'd like to see the date of that.
Well, actually, what I would like you to do is, could have put a letter together to the board, and we'd be happy to give it to you.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think her position in the town is
Okay.
appropriate. It's not...
I know, but like I'm
not
saying,
citizens'
I know,
court.
but this is, we're done talking here. We're going to listen right now.
But you can't take new facts from...
I need to control this meeting, ma'am, so. All right, so we have issues with that kind of accounting. Signing of POs, payroll, bill warrants, and contracting services are operational. On June 29th, 30th, Selectmen authorized a vote. Selectmen's authorization voted that to authorize the Board of Water Committee, not,
What?
I'm sorry. The June 29th or 30th Selectmen's authorization vote was never authorized by the Board of Water Commissioners and Selectmen interference with the department under the bylaws of the town of Raleigh. We have bylaws, and those bylaws are very specific.
What are you talking, what are you doing? Not clear.
Well, I'm trying to be clear, John. Just give me a minute. Okay, so the bylaws are pretty clear as far as, what our authority is. And when the selectmen signed their authorization for our superintendent to sign off on bills and also on payroll, that sent a flag up with the board. And we decided that, and I decided really that, this is something that, well, it's a question. It's a
So it's
question.
just not the whole board, that's all.
No, it is not.
Okay.
Okay, so no, I brought it up, and we discussed it. It was certainly a point of contention that...
A big
why
point
we-
of contention.
Yeah.
We have been informed that the town has not accepted those statutes that you're discussing.
Right.
And it was patently clear, we've been informed, it's not
Calm down,
accurate.
calm down. We have...
No, I'm done being calm
No, but if we
with
have-
this meeting. It is getting to be a circus.
No, it isn't.
It is embarrassing to be part of this board with this kangaroo situation going on, especially with the litigation that is pending, looking at us,
Yeah.
if we do not get this straightened out.
Right.
I'm sorry, I lost my temper, folks.
Keep
I
going.
apologize.
Keep going.
No, Tim's
Keep
right,
going.
he's talking.
All right,
Carry on,
so-
Tim,
Well, you're a
sorry.
board member too, John.
So authorizing an employee to sign off on their own timesheets is something that I don't understand.
Like
Why-
authorizing your own investigation and then supervising it yourself like that?
No, we did a board action.
It is strange.
But listen, if you don't want to...
No, I'm just really trying to understand it.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, I know, but this is not a question and answer time.
But
okay?
I'm
just gonna
trying
make
to
some
learn
statements.
from what you're trying to say, and I can't follow it.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to
do you
listen.
work, what do you work?
I work for Triton. I work for this town of Rowley.
Now, do you sign off on your own timesheet?
Do I sign off on my own timesheet?
Yes. Okay.
I
Well, that's
do,
okay.
I work for the town of
for
Rowley.
you.
Every department
Good for
head
you.
does.
Okay.
The salaried
And it's-
employees.
So I'm not,
they all do.
so, the salaried employees, okay?
Yeah, they
So,
sign a timesheet.
As a department head.
okay, so,
So, I'm sorry, I still don't understand. You don't like that? You don't like the people being able to sign on their own timesheet? For what fear? Fear that they might have a conflict of interest or fear that they might not be truthful? Can't you understand why we would have the same fear of you signing off on a report of your own investigation of someone
I'm
who
sorry,
you
I'm
clearly
sorry, I'm sorry.
have something to say about?
I know, but...
But that
I'm
logic
gonna-
makes sense,
look,
doesn't it?
If you can't behave yourself, I'm going to ask you to leave. This is, I'm trying to run a meeting, okay? So-
Well, I teach 8th grade, I could stay
Yeah.
for detention, but honestly, I think it's
I know, but I'm not entertaining questions, so, if you can't,
I'm trying to follow it, that's all.
yeah, okay. So, the board has historically signed off on time at the department, and also bills, so we could, manage, not manage, but oversee the spending down here.
No, they haven't. They haven't been signed. That's why-
I'm sorry, if you can't keep quiet, I'm going to ask you to leave too. Okay?
We want the truth
we-
here, not your version of the truth.
No. So I'm telling the truth, Mr. Peterson. So if you can't,
Can I speak
if you
about the
can't,
Board of Selectmen?
if you
You
can't
made
be
an
remaining, you're out of
accusation about the
order.
Board of Selectmen.
You're out of
Can I
order.
respond to that?
You're out of order. You're out of order.
You made an accusation against the treasurer, and you made an accusation against the Board of Selectmen. We not allowed to respond to that?
You should be heard.
Look, I have an
I'm just
officer,
asking
I have an
a
officer here. If you can't keep in order, I'm going to ask you to leave. And and this is the last warning I'm going to give you.
Isn't this a public?
I'm not entertaining your questions, your nonsense
We're
tonight.
not listening to lies either.
You can say, the officer, could you please remove this man?
I'll be glad to leave.
Thank you.
I hope you all get your
You don't have to leave.
No.
You don't have to leave, it's a public meeting.
It's an open, public meeting.
No, it's in
Can I ask
Anybody else, look, I'm trying to maintain order here. If you don't want to, work with me, okay, I'm going to ask you to leave too.
May I ask for clarification?
No, you can't, because Citizens Query is over.
This is not citizens query.
Send a letter to the board.
I've already sent several letters to the board.
Yeah, and I'm not done either too, Karen, so,
Is that a
all
threat?
right. No,
Excuse me, is that a threat?
no, it's not.
Sounded like it.
So anyways, we have issues down here where,
You ain't kidding.
yeah, where people are not allowing us to review bills or ask questions about bills, so.
Aren't those POs that you just all pre-signed?
Hire
those on
legalized, hire specialized legalized counsel for the Board of Water Commissioners, the department problem status. That's the next item on the agenda. The Town of Raleigh Administrator and Selectmen have terminated
That's
illegal...
not the next day on the agenda. We're on year-end spending details?
We're in whole business.
Yeah, and the next one is signing POs?
Yeah. Well, I finished up with that, John.
Or you just, what did
We
you say?
just didn't understand it,
The next, oh, sorry, go ahead.
But it did.
All right. Hire legalized special counsel for the Board of Water Commissioners, Department Problems. So we had an issue here. We wanted to launch an investigation, and, well, the Town of Raleigh Administrator and the Selectmen have terminated the illegally any contract we had with our investigators. So I don't understand why we're contracting like anybody else. We're contracting to get some work done here. And the Selectmen have interfered again.
The selectmen did not
I'm sorry,
interfere. No,
John.
I'm going to speak. You can have me
Let me
thrown out.
let me
The
finish.
selectmen did not interfere. I read a letter to both of you gentlemen, and I just want to make sure everyone hears me, to both of you gentlemen from a town attorney. don't do it. I implored you,
Right.
please don't do it. You did do it. And then Deb Egan, the town administrator, talked to the selectmen and they did not fund it. Additionally, September 2011, I presented a letter to you from Judy Pickett, the town attorney, that said we cannot retain counsel. It's cut and dry. Okay? We can't hire a lawyer.
You're misusing your authority.
I'm not misusing my authority, I'm interpreting the law.
In your own favor.
And the lawyer presented you a letter.
You're welcome to look at the Chapter 11 and all these other things, and you can,
It's not approved
well, wait a minute, look.
by the town.
I have Chapter 11, and I have all these, it's not approved by the town. It's a bylaw that this town's been using right along. So to say that the latest memo from the lawyers was that we need to change the bylaws. So we have bylaws that are in effect right now. They want to change the bylaws to reflect that this water board doesn't have the authority to do hiring like that. So
You're
Not
confusing
changed,
what a bylaw
they were
is. You have
existing.
rules and regulations.
bylaws refer to the rules and regulations of the state of Massachusetts, so.
You went into executive session.
sorry,
There are
Mo,
9 reasons-
officer?
There are 9 reasons
Officer?
that you can be exempted.
I already
You
warned
don't
you
have
once,
one of them.
please leave the room.
I can't.
Please leave the room.
Public hearing.
No.
I'm not harassing you.
Officer?
She's not causing a disturbance.
No, I'm just speaking.
Yeah, but there's no speaking here. At this point.
Yeah, but never mind the First Amendment, folks.
Right.
No, this board can speak. I laid out the rules when we started this, that if there was anybody that was out of order, and you're out of order, that I would ask you to leave.
I'm speaking, Mr. Toomey.
No, but you're raising your voice, you're disruptive.
because you're not-
You did the same thing the
You
last meeting.
violated the
You
executive
dragged the
session.
meeting out for
There were 9
55
exemptions.
minutes,
You
Mo.
didn't pick one.
You dragged the meeting out for 55 minutes with your tantrums. So, I'm not going to put up with that.
Well, I think it's unprofessional and condescending of you to say anything about a citizen. This is a public hearing. You work for us as a town.
You're absolutely right about that. I'm
Okay.
trying to do the job.
Then I think the condescension needs to go. And I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say, but listening to you read your notes and trying to follow the agenda, I cannot make heads or tails of it. You are using Chapter 11, you're trying to say that you said something about having the authority based on Chapter 11, parts of Massachusetts general law. Chapter 11 does not give you the authority to hire an attorney without the selectmen's permission first, after you met on September 11th with an open meeting violation that is totally illegal. Therefore, everything else that you did from that meeting should be totally null and void as well. Her suspension should never have happened the way you did it. And if you really want to get to the bottom of it, and if you really want what's best for Rowley and this water department, then you will invite questions in. You will be totally transparent. You will tell us exactly why. You will invite John, a smart, educated man who volunteered to put his name out there to work with you two guys. Instead, you're
I want to
condescending and
finish the
asking
meeting.
people to leave.
I want to continue with the meeting.
But do you understand what where the frustration comes from?
I know, but I'm trying to explain to you the sequence of events.
And I cannot follow it.
So,
Mr. Toomey,
I'm not entertaining any questions right now.
Chairman Toomey, I speak. Just,
Okay.
I implore you. Okay. Stu, I ask for reorganization of the board, end this kangaroo session. The way this is going, this is an embarrassment to our town. And the way it is, Stu, please, I ask you, as a friend, end this. End this and get us back on track. This cannot continue. This, please, ask for reorganization board and end this.
And let's work together to
Excuse
get
me,
to the bottom.
I'm sorry, just please end this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Snow. I didn't expect anything different.
What's good for the town?
That one is a good remark.
Thank you, Mr. Snow.
Thank you.
You're under the tree still?
All right, Mr. Michelle has given us a disengagement letter. He's no longer our investigator, and this happened right after we got a letter from he got a letter from the town saying that he was not going to get paid, as well as Weston and Sampson. So it incapacitated our ability to make the department function properly. But we did function. We had some help from the primary operator, and there was also help down here. So I know there's some billing problems, so that's something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. It's the end of the month. I don't understand why it isn't happening, but.
Because there's no one here. There's nobody here to do the work.
I'm sorry, but let me finish up here. Okay, this is going to be.
You only want to hear what you want to hear.
That's the way we run the meeting.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
We have an open citizens query, and then we usually don't have much more than 2 people in here, and they're usually selectmen.
It's gotta be your reason.
Okay.
There's usually only children that know this for now.
All right, so prior to the September 11th meeting, we found out that there's some pending litigation with the board we didn't even know about. It's been going on since April.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The
So you know anything
litigation
about
you're
it?
talking about?
There's a legal, there's a lawsuit being filed by the former
Clerk or
yeah,
assistant?
Yeah. So there's a number of things that have cropped up in our investigation, so.
What's that, how is that germane to Mary Beth?
I'm not talking about Mary Beth right now. So we had, so we didn't have the ability to hire anybody to cover the bases here, so, and I don't understand why we were not allowed to do that, but I think it's, the other thing that cropped up was comp time was awarded to the one of our employees, and
Have you moved on to item 4?
yeah,
Okay. Just want to make sure we're on track.
yeah. So, but I'd like to say too about specialized legal counsel on item 3, is that this department has been refused to hire its own legal counsel. And we obviously have some differences with the selectmen. Are you still in here?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Very sorry, I'm part of your important meeting.
We're all citizens.
Yeah. Okay, so I know that the electric light department has a lawyer, but we're not able to get one. So there's something there. I don't understand why.
Different statutes.
So what is the specific statutes?
They operate under Chapter 165, and you operate under Chapter something 53F and a half, under the Massachusetts general laws. They negotiate to purchase power. You have water that you sell.
Yeah, but did they just do the negotiation for purchasing power, or they do other duties over there?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just
So
a different conversation.
It's a different government.
So, as far as I can see, there's no reason why we can't have an attorney here, given that.
Yes, there is. We were informed, and I was yelling about it earlier. I don't want to raise my voice again. But I have a question for my fellow board members. What part of Judy Pickett's letter do you not agree with? I mean, what's the issue? And again, going back to Treegate, where that happened, and I think Scott Martin was the chairman then, and was told you are not entitled to hire a lawyer for these reasons. What has changed from then to now that you think we should be able to hire a lawyer? Nothing.
All I've done, John, is read the regulations and read the laws, the statute.
Right.
And the statute says either, the Board of Water Commissioners has the full authority to do all the hiring for the department, or do all is responsible for the operation of the department, or the selectmen are. This is an operational thing. This is a management thing, so we're managing the department, so.
We do not manage the department. We are a board, we oversight. We do not have day-to-day operational management.
We don't give commands down here, but we manage the funds, we manage all that stuff.
We oversee the management of the funds. Very similar to the other boards I've been on, where I get reports on the spending. Well, we don't agree with that. However, we still are not entitled to, retain counsel. period. It's just not, you know, and it'll end up in the courts if it has to, and you've already gotten legal opinions
It'll never go to
twice.
the courts. So
Will cost a little bit.
everybody can look at the opinions if they want to see that, so. Let's go to item number 5.
Did we finish 4?
Well, the point I was making was that, you know, there's no reason that I can see we can't hire legal counsel, so. Because I've been looking at the, okay, so you can read the laws too, so the laws, the laws are pretty clear. Laws are clear.
Interpreted by a lawyer.
Yeah, town councils and selectmen have advised to, years ago, not this, years ago, from a prior event, you are not allowed.
And then again, recently.
Okay,
Mr.
so-
Jalzell, I can't believe you can't see this. You know, I look up to you. You've been on the board
Okay,
longer than Mr. Toomey.
Okay, so item number 5, superintendent memo, the town policy personnel department.
That's part of 4.
That's 4. 5 is the bud issue.
I'm going to move to the new business. I'm going to skip the old business.
Are you tabling 5 and 6?
Yes, I am.
So, yeah, that's a parliamentary thing. You're going to table 5 and 6 and then move on to new business.
It's old business, and we can bring it up again, so it's not quite that an emergency right now. New business, interim superintendent status. The selectmen have interfered with our contracts with an interim and temporary water superintendent to manage department. Selectmen voted to negate our contracts based on what they thought was a violation of the law. The advice from the town labor, and this is where it comes in, John, council assumed it was related to a grievance. It was not. It was on the management of the department, contracts, and comp time issues. So the memo that you saw and cited here in the meeting was his opinion regarding a grievance thing.
And I gotta tell you, it smells like a duck, walks like a duck, is a duck.
They spent
There
an
are
hour
3 or more
last
grievances
night
outstanding.
in an hour and a half at their last meeting discussing the legality of a meeting that never took place.
Wait,
What meeting never took place?
This executive session meeting.
You're telling me
9/11?
this meeting never took place? Is that
It
what
never
you're...
took place regarding a grievance issue.
But it took place.
It took place.
An executive session meeting took place without the open meeting laws being met. That's what you're telling me?
Or any of those
Well,
items on the agenda.
You know,
They weren't even on the agenda.
yes, they were.
So it's suspension of the discussion
were
of
on the agenda.
hiring an interim superintendent? No, there was one broadly worded discussing policies and procedures. You know what? There's an open meeting violation.
Yeah.
She filed one, I filed one, Mary Beth filed one, the selectman filed one. You know what? It's not right. I could read it. It's not on there. The 3 things that they're talking about, hiring an interim superintendent, hiring an investigator, and suspending Mary Beth Weiser, were not on that agenda. They didn't say boom, boom, boom. It was one broad, we're going to talk about policies and procedures. And Mary Beth asked for an open session, and you said no.
No, that's not true either.
It's on tape.
Yes.
We had closed the open meeting, and then she lost her opportunity.
No, you didn't. You didn't close it either.
We closed the open meeting, and she...
She waived her rights.
Okay, so I'm not... Look,
That's a violation.
calm down here. Look, you can
It
go
is a
home.
violation.
It's on camera.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Yeah,
Watch
it
it.
is.
The open meeting was closed, and she was requested to come into the executive session. She refused, as Mr. Manning did too.
After reading to you that it was an illegal session.
Right,
I
on
walked
advice
out.
of counsel.
It's your
Town
prerogative. You
council
can do whatever you
advised you
want.
as well not to do it.
It wasn't something that, the memo that he had wasn't relevant to the meeting we were having.
Oh my God, it was exactly on that. I sent the agenda to him, or to Deb Egan, procedurally to ask, is this sufficient to go to executive session? She went to town council. He came back and said, you should not do this. This agenda does not qualify. And additionally to that, guys, Those things weren't on there. I mean, I was shocked with what came out of that meeting, and I think the town was as well. You know what? If you want to do an investigation, you know what? Sure, I probably would have supported looking into things, but not the way it was done. I think it was.
And that's why.
We were looking into.
It was not done well.
Yeah, it wasn't done well, I agree with that, but.
Illegal.
It wasn't illegal.
Yes, it
But the
was.
outcome of that meeting resulted in us deciding to launch an investigation.
And you've been told, and by town council, by the selectmen, by the public, that no one's really on board with this, and it was not done well. And I think you're going to be talking to the Attorney General office on this open meeting law violation.
I welcome that. I'm not, I welcome
Good,
that.
okay, well, we can.
Yeah. So I believe that the meeting was conducted legally, I said. And so, there's already so many complaints out there now, so we're going to address that later, so. Anyways.
Wrapping them up, maybe.
So the advice at the time, it was an issue that wasn't related to a grievance. It was not related to a grievance. So it was related to the management practices here. They spent an hour and a half at the meetings talking about this, and we can't talk about an executive session meeting. We haven't put the minutes together yet, so.
Right, so I think that's
So-
one of the things I
so
see here, just like accepting
executive
approval
session
of the
meetings-
minutes of
I
September
know, but-
18th, you don't even have them
But
here.
listen, the executive session minutes, executive sessions are confidential. There's some sensitive material in there, so we didn't
But there's
put
still
out a
rules
press
to
release.
follow up.
So,
There's still rules in order to have
and the
these
selectmen,
meetings.
they didn't know anything about it, so they don't know about it, and they want to know about it, but it's an executive session meeting. Mr. Manning, I wish he kind of stayed, because I think he was misinformed by the Joe Fair letter, because it was not.
It wasn't about the retaliation, it was about not meeting the 9 items on the
You keep
agenda.
bringing up this word retaliation. There's no retaliation
You did.
on my part.
No,
You just brought
that's
it up.
fine.
You just brought it up.
So anyways, for item number 1 here, we're discussing administrative leave. I would like to make a motion to fully reinstate Mary Beth Weiser. Stu, will you second that?
I'll second that.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, will you call that vote?
All in favor?
Aye. Are you gonna propose?
You say aye?
I said aye.
Oh, okay. No.
So I think it, passes 2-1?
Congratulations, Mary.
Well,
Thank you.
All right. The next item is address open meeting law complaint. Response. I prepared a letter and I gave it to you in your package. I would like to,
Wait a minute, Tim, I'd like to see it. Wearing the left package, is it
it's at the very end.
the last page?
It's this letter here.
Chairman Toomey, you also have my open public meeting complaints that I left in your packet as well. There are 7 of them.
So thank you very much, Mary Beth.
You're welcome.
I do not see your note here. You put this into the package, Tim?
Yeah.
I see a court case, I don't see any other.
Well, in the interest of time, I'll just read it, okay?
I'm not sure that's
Yeah,
legal.
let's just take a 2-second break and make some copies.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's legal, but that was probably.
I think it's not.
Okay.
I don't know.
And the agenda is, I still it's number 2, yeah.
Just getting going, girl.
More than usual. And nothing I can do about that. Couldn't make a movie with it.
Stu, do you have a copy of that letter or no? Think he's gonna read, do you have a copy of this thing?
It's never gonna. How about the terms run?
Give me a
It is next year.
2 years?
Yep.
Are not due yet. So it's a staff file, so the officers on it, all the bills go up.
No, this isn't what he's making a copy of. That's Michelle. He said some letter, he said he wrote in response to the open meeting violations. Have you got those? Stu, did you get the open meeting law violations? Have you gotten those yet?
I think they did, yes.
Yeah, it's been a bunch filed.
What you're looking at is just a file that goes out. You're under.
Got nothing else to do. It's not. Oh, no, no, that violates the rule. You can't be nominated every year. All right, she's here. She's off the hook.
I know, because I need her around.
Oh, yeah, she's my new job here. No, you can't do it. Take good care of you.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Chairman Toomey. I just want to, I know that my client's been reinstated, and I was just hoping to confirm that she's going to be getting her truck keys back, her phone, and her laptop, and everything else associated with doing her duties.
Of course.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much.
And one thing I want to put on the record is that anything that's turned up with that truck or that laptop, there's been no chain of custody. We don't know who's had it, we don't know where it is, and so anything that's produced from that, I think should not even be considered. Again, there is no chain of custody on that material.
Is she getting that back tomorrow, those items?
I'm not sure where the key, where's the keys? You know?
When I left on September 11th, everything was left on this desk. When I came back, it was all gone.
Okay.
So I don't know where they are.
I'll have to look into that. All right, so we had an open meeting law complaint from Mr. Murray up at Selectman's office regarding that, the September 11th meeting. And,
You're talking about, excuse me, Chairman Murray, you mean?
yes, Chairman Murray. And I'd like to respond by presenting this letter. Raleigh Water Board response: alleged open meeting law violation September 11, 2015. In response to the open meeting law complaint filed by Selectman Murray, 9/16/2015, given the Board of Selectmen's documented ongoing unprofessional behavior to discredit the Water Board, together with retaliatory behavior which obviously serves as a great smokescreen to take attention away from the Board of Selectmen improperly and potentially illegally granting Ms. Weiser 80 hours of comp time without any supporting documentation, and in violation of the personal bylaws governing such, as the Board of Selectmen are not Ms. Weiser's supervisors, the Water Board would rely upon the Attorney General's office to determine that the Board violated any provisions of the open meeting law. In order to understand the actions of the Water Board of September 11th, one must understand how the Board of Selectmen have systematically undermined the authority of the Water Board over the last 14 months. The Board of Selectmen have effectively and strategically stifled the Water Board, engaging and encouraging hostile behavior when the Water Board attempts to exercise its oversight responsibility over the Water Department. Anytime the Water Board makes a request to review and discuss documents in order to make a factual decision issue within its jurisdiction, such as rates, purchasing, and operational costs, etc., such as met with hostility and defiance by certain members of the Board of Selectmen who attend water board meetings and twist and characterize such inquiries into harassing behavior toward Ms. Weisner, effectively intimidating and stifling water board members and pressuring them to vote on and approve actions without justification. In addition, despite the fact that the water board is Ms. Weiser's supervisor, the Board of Selectmen have and continue to promote a misinformation campaign providing her with false information such as water board chairman is her supervisor. Any communication with her by an individual water board member is a violation of the open meeting law. And if the water board doesn't approve payroll expenses, the Board of Selectmen can do so with their authorization. Unfortunately, this crafty and counterproductive behavior has proven to be highly effective by the Board of Selectmen in undermining the water board and discrediting any water board members that simply try to fulfill their duties in a responsible and informed manner. Having tolerated this nonsense long enough, a challenge to the recent action of the Board of Selectmen improperly and potentially illegally granting Ms. Weiser a total of 80 hours of comp time without any supporting documentation and in violation of the personal bylaws was met with the same negative defensive manner. However, given the nature, facts, and possible legal repercussions related to this issue, which obviously struck a nerve with everybody involved, no reasonable or justifiable explanation could be given. Instead, such was met with retaliatory harassment complaints by Ms. Weiser, consistent with the subtle encouragement of the board members of the Board of Selectmen at a meeting prior to. Given relationship between the Water Board and the Board of Selectmen, the Water Board approved the hiring of special counsel to represent the Water Board on harassment complaints and to address the legality of the entire comp time issue. However, the Board of Selectmen opposed and prevented such defying funding and insisted on the Water Board utilizing the town's labor attorney, Joe Fair, considering the fact that Attorney Fair is appointed by and can only represent other town officials with the approval of the Board of Selectmen. The conflict of interest question was raised by the Water Board, but conveniently ignored the Board of Selectmen. Nothing against Attorney Fair, but there is no question by the nature of the appointment and the parameters which he can work, his loyalties must be with the Board of Selectmen. Considering the dynamics between the Board of Selectmen and the Water Board, how could Attorney Fair effectively represent the Water Board expressing concern over potential violation of the law that would and could adversely affect the Board of Selectmen, his primary client? Even though this issue concern was raised many times, it was ignored by the Board of Selectmen, who were all too happy to promote and authorize representation to the Water Board member Manning about open meeting law, who had been acting independently as a Water Board member and appeared to be preoccupied in blindly supporting the Board of Selectmen's agenda and ignoring the legality of comp time issue in question and other practices that undermine the Water Board. Simply put, given the actions of the Board of Selectmen, their contention related to the comp time issue, and their authority over Attorney Fair, the Water Board, 2 members, don't believe Attorney Fair can ethically represent them on any adverse action the Board of Selectmen are involved in, especially on a matter that may have a serious legal implication, such as giving an employee they do not legally supervise what amounts to 2 weeks off with pay, worth approximately $2,500, without any factual justification supporting the documentation. Incidentally, that was some of the comp time was forwarded to the following year, so it really equates to a benefit that was not in the budget. For these reasons, the Water Board, 2 members, choose not to believe or trust the representations of Attorney Fair, which I know were solicited by the Water Board member Manning individually without any authorization from the board. What did Attorney Fair know or review to make such determinations? How could he offer a legal opinion without discussing the Water Board's concerns and reasons for meeting an executive session? What was the real motive to pressure the Water Board not to take any action? If Attorney Fair's legal opinion was so sound, why did the Board of Selectmen feel they had to ambush the Water Board by attending with a cast of individuals that caused nothing but friction, stress, anxiety, and confusion, which proved to be counterproductive when trying to follow complex legal procedures without the advice of independent legal counsel, without conflict of issues? These are all good questions which can and should make a reasonable person wonder why the Board of Selectmen is so defensive. If they did nothing wrong, why wouldn't they encourage a fair, impartial, transparent investigation into the facts? The fact that they have acted in a manner they have calls to question what else is going on behind the scenes that the Water Board doesn't know about, but will likely be blamed for if and when it comes out in the future. Rates, procurement, lawsuits, we don't know about this stuff. With all that, although we strongly disagree with the Selectman Mary's allegations and characterize that the Board of Water Commissioners intentionally violated the open meeting law of September 11, 2015, we welcome an investigation by the Attorney General's office on this and any other similar or related requests, mainly intended to discredit the Water Board and create a smokescreen for issues described above, as we have been denied the opportunity to be represented by a conflict of interest-free counsel. We would appreciate an investigation into all these matters and follow-up. As for any omissions and/or violations of the open meeting law, we trust your agency to advise us on such, and we are prepared to accept your recommendations to prevent such in the future. In relation to the other issues raised above, we intend to pursue such with an appropriate division of your office, as well as Inspector General's office and State Auditor's office, the Division of Utilities, and any other applicable regulatory investigation agencies. Based on their actions, we remain very concerned that there is something larger at work here in regards to the actions of the Board of Selectmen and/or certain members of the board that feel compelled to legally address specific issues and concerns regarding their actions and interference relative to procurement, the veracity of the limited financial information provided regarding the Water Board, regarding the increase in water rates, and unauthorized use of public funds to pay rejected expenses and unauthorized comp time. Therefore, I, Tim Toomey, Chairman of the Raleigh Board of Water Commissioners, this 29th day of September 2000, move to accept the above correspondence to serve as official answer to response to the alleged open meeting law violation of September 11th, 2015, attached. In addition to an official request for investigation of the Board of Selectmen as described above.
Take my name off that document. I am Water.
Did you,
These open meeting violations are against you, Tim, and you, Stu. Nothing to do with me. And it's not an official response. You two own it. You did it. You own it.
That's right. That's
Want to have me thrown out?
do I have a second?
No.
Go ahead, Stu. You will own it.
Don't do it, Stu.
Don't do it, Stu.
Please don't do it.
Mr. Calzell, please. Please say no.
We're going to have to straighten.
Think about it, Stu.
We're going to have to try to straighten this thing out, Stu. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two of you need to, not the board.
Not the board.
It's not.
That's not
properly
right.
written.
That's
really not
So-
properly
That's
written.
blatant.
It's unfair to
No
Joe.
comments, thank you.
Please don't do that.
So,
And I know you
Stu?
didn't write that letter, an attorney wrote that letter for you.
No, we
Maybe
didn't.
Mr. Bean with the MO.
Sorry, Mom. I'm going to ask you just one more time. Please do not be more disruptive again, okay?
You didn't write that letter. Somebody wrote
You're
that.
welcome to get a copy of this, too. So, Stu, do
Well, it'll
I
be
have
part
a
of the
motion?
public
You
record.
can't sign
Second that?
someone else on a letter.
Don't say.
So it doesn't pass?
No.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Calzell.
I always say,
Thank you.
gentlemen,
Thank you.
you need to do it in an open session, in an
Thank
open
you.
meeting law. If the two of you meet, it's a violation. If you
Right.
email each other, it's a violation. You guys need to figure out how to respond to the open meeting violations, and last count there were 11.
Thank you for
Okay.
listening.
All right.
It's not a board issue.
It is a board issue.
No,
It's a
it's not.
two-member
It's-
issue.
Under the open meeting law, the people that participated in it are cited. The board is not cited, the participants are. That's what's on the document.
It's unfair to John.
That's got nothing to do with me.
And the way you worded it, it's hard to me to follow. It would become part of the public record, but it's so wordy and hard to follow. It's very hard for us to take it seriously because you talk about fairness and you talk about somebody having an axe to grind, but that's exactly what we see. So it doesn't seem transparent to us. It doesn't seem like you're really out for the best of everyone. The very thing that you're telling the Board of Selectmen, the very thing that you're accusing them of doing, that's what we see. You are not impartial. You cannot be impartial when it comes to her. You can't be on the board that actually says whether she's doing a good job or not, or in charge of the investigation, because you can't see it clearly. And for the same exact reasons that you write about the Board of Selectmen, that's the very thing we see sitting right here looking at you. So that's why it doesn't seem... I'm trying to follow you, and I'm trying to understand your frustration, and I don't want you to get any share of the blame that doesn't belong to you, but from my standpoint and where I sit, it just seems like there's something more, like you said, there's something more to the picture. When you ask those questions, what about Attorney Fair? That's the same questions I'm thinking about you. Why is it that I don't feel like you have my best interest at heart? Why is it I want to put my faith in John and Mr. Dalzell, I really do. And I want to put my faith in you too. But when you are condescending to the crowd, the people who pay the water bill, who are really just trying to get to the bottom of it, that's really what we want. Openness, open meetings, asking for more input, not less. That's the kind of thing that, and if there's really truly problems that you're getting blamed for, let's get them out there. Let's get to it. But to accuse the Board of Selectmen of being proprietary or of being one-sided, when that's exactly why we're all here.
Okay, well,
I'm just trying to see it.
I'm just
I
trying
can't
to
see it.
have a meeting here, so.
Okay, so far so good.
Okay, so that doesn't pass. So what does the board want to do about responding to this?
The board does not respond. They are personal letters to you. You need to look at them and write your response back.
I did, John.
Okay, then you're done.
Okay, so this didn't pass, so I'm going to send this in and see what happens. Okay.
But not with the Water Board
Yeah,
saying
no, it
that.
didn't pass. No, But, somebody's got to respond to it.
You can
It's addressed
respond
to
as
yourself.
an individual,
Right.
is what he's trying to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
But not as the board.
Okay, so what's the next item? Item?
Section 3, status of investigation of the department.
And a response is not on town stationery, is that accurate to say?
absolutely.
Okay, so the status of the investigation is that we lost our investigator, and we have now brought back, reinstated the superintendent, so
Good point.
we're going to have to regroup on that.
Who's going to regroup on that?
Well, I'm going to put a motion forward that we continue with the investigation. And I would put forward that we all look at, some of the issues down here and then bring them to a meeting. And discuss them openly, in an open meeting.
I would want to see a list of the allegations that are being, just like the courts. You have indictments. You have to have something to go to investigation. So I would like to see a list of what you want to investigate.
Well, do you want to investigate anything?
Not at all.
Okay.
I've looked at the books.
So do you want to
Before I
investigate?
started, I looked at the books.
Excuse me,
Do you want to investigate any issues down here?
if you have some issues, bring them, as John said, bring them to the table.
Okay. So,
On an agenda ahead of time,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, no issues with
Yeah.
that.
okay, so then we'll entertain a motion that will bring up issues on an open agenda. And then,
Moving forward,
yeah, moving forward. So do I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
So I'll have that for the next meeting. All right. Discuss motion of 9/11 relative to the Board of Water Commissioners taking action to address any and all concerns relative to the duties and authority of the Board of Water Commissioners to ensure full and relative to statutory compliance. This board has a fiduciary duty given that to us as elected officials and subject to all applicable bylaws in Chapter 11 of the Acts of 1946 to approve under Article 5 on December 2nd, 1952 to all residents of Raleigh to exclusively manage the exclusive management of the water department unencumbered by the selectmen. We have bylaws. These bylaws are already enacted. The bylaws are the bylaws.
The town has bylaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bylaws allow us to operate on this water thing.
Could you read that for us, please? That rule?
Town of Raleigh may supply itself and its inhabitants with water for the I may have a poor copy here, of free and domestic and other purposes, and for extinguishment, I think it's, yeah, for water, hydrants. And may establish fountains and hydrants, relocate and discontinue the same, and may regulate the water and fix and collect rates to be paid for the use of the same thing. For the purposes that said town acting by its water commissioners hereby provided for may contract with any other municipality acting by its water department, the Inner Water Company, or with the water district for whatever water may be required, authorized authority to furnish the same being hereby granted, and may lease, particularly in eminent domain under Chapter 79, Chapter 8, general laws, and require the lease purchase of otherwise hold the water or any portion thereof of any pond, brook, so it goes on. This is available. You can.
It also says in the Act of 1946 that the Board of Selectmen are authorized to set up a water board, and that the selectmen or the water board will manage that system. And that was accepted in 1952 when the water department was put together.
The water board was put together, John, in 1952.
Right, by the selectmen.
Yeah.
And the language in there says the selectmen or the water board.
No, I think that the townspeople put forward the concept of having a water board.
Under the executive power of the selectmen. That's the way that
Are we
law
all
reads.
townspeople?
That's the way the law reads.
Where does it say the executive power of the selectmen?
That's my quote for the executive board that are the selectmen, if you want to just saying the selectmen. But they are the ultimate authority in the town.
I read it
That's
to
the way,
be,
that's the way the town is operated from the beginning.
And then,
I read it to be, the water board has a sole authority, and if there isn't a water board, then the selectmen.
And I've looked at that as well, and I don't interpret it that way. So I think maybe we should get that law and have a meeting where we just sit and we talk about that, so that we're not kind of trying to do it from the top of our heads, because that's...
Mr. Dalzell, can I read you something from the Acts of 1946, Chapter 11?
Sure. Certainly.
The Board of Water Commissioners may establish rules and regulations for the management of its waterworks, not inconsistent with this act or any other provisions of the law. So, the water board may provide water, but within the scope of all of the other bylaws of the Commonwealth and the town.
What does it say in the bylaw that this Chapter 4169B is not something that we should be following?
It's your only authority. It's the only statute that the town has accepted with regard to the rights and duties of water commissioners.
But they must
This is
fall
it.
under the auspices of the town.
This is it. This is your governing document. This is what established the water department, and this is what was accepted at town meeting.
Okay.
Chapter 11 of the Acts of 46.
Right, 1946, accepted in 1952.
Well, the recent letter
Exactly right.
Right.
from Mrs. Pickett stated that the bylaws needed to be changed, or?
There was a mention.
So does that mean that the bylaws are wrong?
Not the bylaws, the rules and regulations that we're operating under from 2013 was what I remember seeing the letter. It said the rules and regulations, one of the quotes was that they were passed in 2013. I don't have those, I didn't have a chance to look at those, but that's what she was referring to should be changed and updated. Because we're now running a water treatment plant, not just a distribution.
And the wording would be different than 1946 probably too.
Chapter 46, but the town bylaw that passed was erroneously reported as the wrong chapter and section. That part has to be changed in the bylaw.
Okay.
However, the vote that the town took to establish the water department was in fact a legal vote by town meeting in 1952, Chapter 11, whatever the
The other
it does specifically say that you have to operate not only, you're not dictatorial, you have to operate within the laws of the Commonwealth and the other bylaws of the town, including the personnel bylaw and all these other things that you seem to not want to do.
So are we on point number 4?
Well, the other regulation is the administration of the government. It's Chapter 4169B.
Which was never accepted by the town.
Accepted by the town. How many times do we have to repeat that? It wasn't accepted by the town. The only one that was accepted was Chapter 11, the Acts of 1946.
Where was it accepted?
Town meeting, you have the information there provided by...
Approved January 28, 1946.
Right, at town meeting.
Well,
So it does sound like a good agenda item, right? To get all the facts out there, get the verbiage updated, get the words right, so that everything is now in the vernacular that we're using with treatment plant. They probably didn't even have that thing back then. So it sounds like something that should be on another agenda item going forward.
Well,
So on item 4, what's the, is this just informative or is there a question here?
Why can't you make a
well, I
motion?
think what we're going to do is we're going to probably bring that up with the on the agenda for the next meeting. So
Bring one up.
discuss the relationship with this bylaws and everything.
Chapter 11 and the other subsequent documents?
Yeah,
Why can't you make a motion to make the change in the bylaw?
I'm sorry, Mo, we're running this
You need
meeting.
to get the information first.
Do that at the next time.
If I could just say, the rules and regulations of 2013, basically what happens is when people are developing these things for a department that doesn't have them, they often borrow from what exists in other places. So if there were references in there that were incorrect, it could just be because, the facts were never fully vetted because it sounded reasonable. I know that Mary Beth has been working to update the rules and regulations with regard to your policies.
Okay. Well, that'll be on the next agenda.
Can I make a suggestion? If that item is moved to the agenda, that an expert also be part of that meeting, somebody who is familiar with the laws, so that we're not having amateur hour. I mean, with all best intentions, if you don't these ordinances, the ordinance strikes me as being supremely vague.
Right.
So I can understand why people can take a different interpretation of it, given the context that they're operating from. But under those circumstances, that argues for having a lawyer, town council, somebody who actually understands the legislation to kind of guide or provide input into the discussion.
Yeah, and knows the ins and outs of the words and things.
Well, I mean, the question has certainly hit me several times from the people I've been talking with, is that why wouldn't we be able to hire a law firm anyway? I mean, what's the big problem with it?
Well, I think we're rediscussing, with all due respect, I think we're rediscussing something that's already probably part of that discussion, and we're just kind of beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah.
It makes much more sense
So,
to get paid.
you know that we have an adversarial relationship with the selectmen, and we know that when the several attempts I tried to get a lawyer in here, it was all the town's lawyer, and they report to the selectmen, so there's a conflict there.
It's time we mend the fences and draft up what we'd like for changes and have town council fine tune it.
Can I have a suggestion, Mr. Chairman, to me? That you have a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen, Water Commissioners, to look at the law and the government of the water department.
Let me think about that. Thank you.
You want to think about whether in fact you want to have a meeting with the
joint meeting.
selectmen? A joint meeting?
Yeah.
Why would you hesitate? I'm just curious, why would you hesitate not to want to work together?
I'd like to think about it. Okay.
Well, it's hard to mend fences when you're not talking to each other.
Could one of the
All
other
right.
commissioners make a motion, either A, to include a legal counsel, and B, that invite the selectmen to that meeting?
Yeah, I think you could make that motion.
Maybe we should invite the selectmen down here and have a joint meeting down here. I think that's a good idea.
I don't think the venue matters, but if the selectmen would not be averse, we can bring that back to the...
I'm one of 5 votes. I'm not averse to go anywhere to discuss issues.
Dave still?
Yeah, I have no objection to it.
So
Okay.
we'll set it up.
All right,
Come here.
Item 5, one of the issues I'm going to bring up with the investigation is contracting procurement issues with Prospect Hill Design Engineering Firm. I notice we have a purchase order on the table for a contract with Tate and Howard, and I don't recall it being put out for bid.
Engineering services are not subject to procurement laws, 30B.
It's a choice.
Mary Beth submitted a document discussing that.
It's a choice. It's like the water treatment plant. So you can choose to put it out for bid, or you can go sole source.
Mr. Chairman?
I think it's fair if we put out everything around here, 3 bids.
Mr. Chairman? As a member of the Board of Selectmen, can I respond? Because that's obviously a selectmen's issue.
Yeah. You've already signed a contract with them, so...
Chairman Tui, I can explain the purchase order
Mary
if you
Beth.
allow.
Please. The issue here is that the road going up the hill washed out. The treasurer is correct. We do not have to go out to bid for procurement services under Chapter 30B. The need to expedite the process is, if we go out to bid, it's going to be multiple months before we come back with bids and awards and so on and so forth. This road is an emergency repair that needs to be done before winter. Once the ground freezes, they're not going to be able to repair that. That road leads to your water tank. It leads to all the town's communication system, police, fire, highway. It also leads to the towers that the town needs to go to, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T for cell phone services. This is something that has to be done as soon as possible before the winter sets in. That's why the selectmen took the lead on this. We put in half the money. The water board put in half the money. And instead of talking about it and debating about it, we just want to get it done. The money is there. It's been appropriated. We need to spend it and get the road fixed so that if an emergency develops and we're gonna get bad weather this weekend, for instance, allegedly, the road's gonna wash out more. It's something that has to be done, let's just get it done. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make my point again, that road's been maintained by the water department since the 1949, so we've had no trouble with it until now. So why do we have to spend
It washed out.
$250,000 to fix a road?
It washed out. It has-
Well, why do we have to spend $250,000
Because
to fix a road we use maybe 2 or 3 times a year?
No, we
You know,
don't
we
use
can
it.
certainly get up there with, any kind of a track vehicle or ski mobiles. You can't get up there in the wintertime anyway.
The road needs to be maintained so that.
It has been maintained, Mr. Peterson. It's been maintained since 1949.
Right, and I-
Why do we have to spend $250,000?
There was one.
Can I answer the question?
Plus the engineering.
Can I answer the question? Because to fix the road washed out, I went up and saw it, maybe you didn't go see it, but I saw it, and Mr. Snow saw it. We all went up and looked, the road is, as a result of last winter's storms and all the snow we got and all the bad weather and the rain, it's completely washed out. It's a major project, so at this point, we need to have it engineered, we need to conform with stormwater runoff regulations from the federal government, we need to follow conservation restrictions, and it's a complicated situation. Before, we used to go out and just have a grader grade it. It's way beyond having a grader grade it. It needs to be fixed. The town agreed, the selectmen have agreed with, maintained by you people, but we agreed to save the water ratepayers some money. We would take $75,000 or half of whatever the half of the cost is to help fix that road, because we do use it.
Yeah.
It should be, the road should be, excuse me.
Well, my only concern, Mr. Peterson, is the rates have gone up triple time.
Rates. This is about fixing the road so that it can be properly maintained for use by all the
It's
parties.
been properly maintained since the 40s, so.
Yeah, well.
Okay. It's a difference of opinion.
The town voted on it at town meeting.
Yeah.
The townspeople have spoken.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me.
We're going to move on with the meeting, Mr. Snow.
This is a safety issue pertaining to the road. Do you wish to speak about a safety issue or not?
What's the safety issue, Mr. Snow?
I went up with Captain Emery, the fire department. We went up to the road and we went, I took pictures. I sent them to the town administrator. You can forward those to you. I believe I forwarded them to you. And if you look at those pictures, see where I took pictures of Captain Emery and his ankle. He was about that far down in some of the ruts of the road. The road, as you go up further, we walked up about a third of the way up the road, and it's in very bad condition. Now, I would be very hesitant to go up there in the condition of the road, even with a four-wheel vehicle, okay? When I was in the Marines, I was trained in four-wheel vehicles, okay? I have a certificate at home telling me that what I can drive and what I can't drive, okay? I would be very hesitant to not have that road attended to. It is a safety hazard. There is communications equipment for police and fire atop of Prospect Hill. Horizon has facilities up at the hill and several other communications companies. So I would say this should be addressed and be addressed as soon as possible.
And if somebody got hurt up there, the town would be liable, right?
Correct.
So that's a safety issue too, so,
And we voted on it.
We did vote.
Yeah, why are we going backwards
We
6
voted
months
on
on this?
Okay, well,
All right, so we'll move on. So that's why I brought it up. I think that we ought to be more careful about getting quotes of engineering firms. It's not mandatory that we have to go get 3 quotes. You can just hire it up. That's what we've been doing here. And if the board wishes to just hire it up, it's fine. I'll go along with it. Status of hiring administrative assistants since September of 2014. Why has Carmen Frederico's position not been filled?
Mr. Chairman, as chairman of the personnel board, I'd like to address that issue.
Okay. You're recognized.
Last September, the administrative assistant went out on sick leave. On September 23rd, 2014, last year, he he applied for and received leave, or a leave of absence under the Family Medical Leave Act. He was on, and you guys were all apprised, this should not be new information. This was all done through your board and the superintendent. It was, and personnel board and the town administrator. So this is not new information. That FMLA ended on June 2nd, 2015. So he was on Family Medical Leave Act from last September until June of 2015. At that time, last September, a year ago now, your superintendent requested the job descriptions be updated since there was a change in the way the department was run. There was no longer had a business manager. The administrative assistant needs to report to the superintendent, not the business manager like it was before. Your board had those job descriptions on the table for many months and you kept delaying approving them. And they were not approved by your board until the August 3rd meeting. So the administrative assistant his position was ended with the town in June 2nd. It took you 2 months to approve the job description. We can't post the position until the job description is accurate.
And that was August
The
of
person-
2015.
So August 3rd of 2015, you finally approved that job description. The personnel board met on 8/4, the day after, and we approved the job description. On 8/7, which is 3 days later than that, the town administrator posted that position on the bulletin board and in the appropriate places that it's required by the town personnel bylaws to be posted. The resumes were due in by 8/21, August 21, about a little over a month ago. A bunch of resumes came in. The personnel officer, Deborah Egan in this case, was going through to make sure, see which ones were qualified, which ones weren't. She was meeting with the water board superintendent on September 16th. After the resumes were all in and evaluated, a meeting was scheduled with the superintendent. At that point, she was suspended or put on administrative leave. And as a result of her being put on administrative leave, the process has come to a grinding halt. Maybe now that she's back on full duty, we can get back in a reasonable time frame higher. But there's nothing we can do about employees going on FMLA. That's beyond our control. That's a state law, even though you guys are independent to do what you want. That's a state law we have to follow. You failed to okay the job description, which delayed the whole process 2 months. And other than that, it's been expeditiously applied, and this is where we stand right now.
Mr. Chairman? The gentleman was hired. We have many other applications. Perhaps we should consider going through them, inviting them to come and reapply.
From a database you have already.
We have new applications,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. It's a whole new application process that we follow.
There were some very well qualified applicants.
They were free to apply again if they wanted.
Okay, so,
So you have a timeline now.
okay. Financial audit of the department. I brought that up because of the investigation, and I think we need to have an independent audit of the department funds and the expenditures, so.
Who's gonna pay for that?
We are, the water department.
So what funds?
What line, what budget line will that come from?
I don't have the budget in front of me.
With respect to an audit, Tim, are you looking for fraud, waste, overspending? Because we have Sue Bailey, the town accountant. We also have Karen Summit, the town treasurer. We have checks and balances as well as the selectmen. So this is like a three-step verification
We
process.
also have
on our
Howard
budget.
and Sullivan, the town's audit firm, who audits the entire water department numbers as well.
So what irregularities do you want to investigate?
I think we're covered, Mr. Toomey.
You think we're covered?
Treasurer and the accountant, and then the auditors.
When's the last time we had an audit report here for the water department?
We have an audit every year,
Every
every
year.
fiscal year. The last year would have been fiscal year 14.
Is there a chance you could give the commissioners copies of the audits for the last 4 years?
I believe you can get it online, actually, Mr. Toomey.
Okay.
Yeah,
If not, I can
on the
give you-
Town of Raleigh website, you can
I-
actually read it.
If not, I can give you a copy that you can certainly make copies of. I have my official copies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
But
it's
that's
online
no,
too.
you know, that's public information.
Right.
Okay, so next section is the reorganization of the board.
I'll make a motion, we reorganize.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to, effective 11/2, to nominate John Mann for chair.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to make Stu Dalzell vice chairman, effective the same time, 11/2.
I'll second that.
Didn't give me a chance to decline.
Sorry.
Blame you.
I'll make a motion that I nominate Mr. Toomey for vice chair.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Superintendent's operations, department operations report.
And more as a clerk to nominate.
Oh, I'll nominate Stuart Dalzell to be secretary.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Effective?
Let me see, 11/2, Stu?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Excuse me. I remind the board that the board would have a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen in the future, discuss issues.
I think we'll bring it up for the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll put that on the agenda.
Okay.
To
Thanks.
schedule, get it scheduled.
Get a date on there.
All right, superintendent department operations report. I know that superintendent hasn't been here, so things have been rather chaotic. Bills have been stuffed in the box, they haven't been moved on. And I tried to address that last week, and there's several calls that came in. I think Ms. Weiser has actually addressed a lot of them Monday. Could you care to talk about how many you addressed Monday to take care of these? Had an email there?
Do you want to discuss the email you sent with
Oh, sure.
the numbers?
Yes, well, I had, I look at two emails. I have the Mary Beth Weiser, and then I have also, it would be the administrative assistants. It's the town, the water department's email. There were, I think, 169 emails that were left unaddressed. My email had like 192. I processed over 100 water bills on Monday. I just pretty much spent the day trying to look at the things that had been going wrong. Nobody had picked up the mail at the post office, so we did have customers that, you're not supposed to mail to the P.O. box, it's supposed to go to Pennachuck's address in Nashville, or drop in the drop box.
Yeah.
So there were some water bills that had been sitting there for I don't know how long. And we're going to be overdue on invoices for services and goods that we've purchased. So we're going to be looking to get those out in the next cycle for paying our bills.
Yeah,
our
the
department
town's bills, yeah.
But there were 72.
Of course, yeah. Business piles up.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a reply to Mr. Graham's earlier statement that he went online and paid? Generally, when you pay online, they're probably not going to deduct the water bill until the last day of the month. Normally, unless you tell them to do it earlier, they'll do it on the date the bill is due. So if you go up and check the website, that's probably what you're going to find.
Well, that's interesting.
So anybody that pays online, it's credited the last day of the month.
Can I clarify? What happens is when the bills go up, it's a file, it's a static file.
Right.
What it does is it allows you to go up and look at your bill.
Right.
And that file stays there. It's a separate mechanism where you go in and you pay your bill. When you pay that bill, it's a file that's generated, and Penachek will go and pull that file into their system and post it to your account. But if you go and look at your bill online, it's going to be the same for every day that it's up there.
So
It's a static file. It's a static file.
Right, the two files don't talk to each other.
It's
So
two
that's-
separate
That's what's that, yeah, the two files don't talk to each other.
Website as opposed to the
It
Penachuk
just has to
website.
do with, with the file.
Yeah.
If you're looking at, just like a piece of paper, it doesn't change.
Right, at that time it was done, that's what you see.
Okay. It's good to know.
But you get a confirmation of your payment status, so that's all.
Right.
Okay, so, Janice, for the next meeting, I'm going to bring up items for the investigation. You have a motion for that?
Items for the investigation personnel-wise, or I'm lost a little bit.
The investigation we launched September 11th. All those investigation items.
Okay, the ones that we were talking about, the open meeting
Right.
ones, that one, okay.
Do I have a second on that?
If you have some items to bring up, bring them up and be done with it.
Yep. So do I take that as a motion still?
You asked earlier
Yeah.
to put it on the agenda.
Yeah. We're doing the discuss and vote on agenda items for next meeting.
That's correct, that was taken care of earlier.
Right. So that-
100%.
Okay. Agenda, also the bylaws and the laws and 41 and 69B and all that stuff. Discussion?
With the selectmen, ask the selectmen to attend.
You want to put that off to a different meeting?
If we're gonna do it, you'd rather do it with the selectmen, be well prepared.
So put that off. Or schedule a joint meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other items?
Yeah, cross-connection update. It's a serious situation.
Okay.
Leak
All in
detect-
favor? I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. Leak detection update. I know they were doing leak detections. The guys were out doing it.
All right.
Call for that.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Dehumidification update, even though we're 80 degrees in the end of September, but still, we need to talk about that.
We certainly do.
I'll make that motion. I'll second the motion on this. All in favor?
Dual item liens and shut-off update. There's a lot going on, kind of take a skip on that one, so get up to speed. Get rid of shut-off.
Good water, that's good.
You want to second that still?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else, John?
There's one other item that someone gave me, the water storage tank cleaning update. It needs to be cleaned, some maintenance.
The exterior coatings on the only storage tank is compromised, it's failed. So the raw concrete is exposed to the,
Elements.
Has to be
Outside
addressed.
cleaning.
and there's cracks.
Has to be addressed.
Okay, so Stu, you're gonna second that?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye. Do you have anything else, Mr. Chairman?
No, not at this
Mr.
time.
Manning?
No.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to apologize for losing my temper, folks.
Thank you, though. That was cooperative, though.